In a small town nestled between green hills lived a quiet boy named Phillips. He was 12 years old, skinny, wore oversized glasses, and always carried a worn-out notebook filled with sketches of rockets, electric cars, and futuristic cities. Phillips wasn't like the other kids in his school. He didn't care much for sports or popularity. He dreamed of the stars. Every day at school, a boy named Marcus made Phillips's life miserable. "Hey, space boy," he'd yell, snatching Phillips's notebook and tossing it across the playground. "Gonna fly to Mars in that piece of junk?" The other kids would laugh, and Phillips would silently pick up his book, hiding the tears in his eyes. But Phillips never stopped dreaming. At night, while the world slept, he devoured books on physics, watched documentaries about space travel, and coded his first programs on an old computer his father fixed from the junkyard. His mother always told him, "Phillips, the world may not see your light yet, but don't ever let it go out." Years passed. Phillips kept working, learning, and building. He won a science fair, then earned a scholarship to a top university. After college, he founded a tech startup from his garage. It failed, then another and another, but each failure only fueled him more. Years later, as Phillips stood on a stage unveiling his latest spacecraft headed for Mars, a familiar face from the past approached him. "Hey, remember me?" Marcus asked awkwardly, now older, humbled. Phillips smiled warmly, extended a hand, and said, "Of course I do. Thanks for the push." Because in the end, the boy who was bullied for dreaming too big became the man who proved no dream is ever too big to come true. Please don't forget to subscribe. The Clockmaker's Gift. In a quiet village nestled between emerald hills, there lived an old clockmaker named Elias. His shop was filled with ticking wonders: cuckoo clocks that chirped in harmony, grandfather clocks that chimed lullabies, and pocket watches that whispered secrets if you held them close enough. One rainy evening, a small girl named Leela wandered into the shop, soaked and shivering. She clutched a broken wooden watch. "It belonged to my mother," she said, voice trembling. "It hasn't ticked since she passed." Elias examined the watch. It was unlike anything he'd seen, etched with stars and a single word: remember. He worked through the night, the storm outside echoing the storm inside the watch, something magical, something alive. As dawn broke, he finished. Leela took the watch in her hands. It ticked, but more than that, it sang. A soft, warm melody filled the shop, her mother's lullaby. Tears welled in Leela's eyes. "How did you fix it?" Elias smiled gently. "Time remembers love." From that day on, Lila visited often, and the old clockmaker's shop, once quiet and forgotten, became a place where broken time found its song again. Please don't forget to subscribe. A Father's Promise. In a quiet village nestled between green hills lived a young boy named Kofi. From the moment he could walk, Kofi was fascinated by stories of bravery. He would tie a stick to his back, salute the chickens, and march around the yard shouting orders. "I want to be a soldier," he told his father, Amawu, one starry night. Amawu smiled, placing a firm hand on Kofi's shoulder. "Then you will be, and I'll be with you every step of the way." The road wasn't easy. The village school had no resources. Their family had little money. But Amawu worked longer hours at the farm, saved every coin, and woke up before dawn to train with Kofi, running, lifting, reading together. Years passed. Kofi grew strong, smart, and determined. He failed his first entry exam, then his second. But his father never let him quit. "You only lose when you stop trying," Amawu would say. On Kofi's third attempt, he passed. The day he received his acceptance letter into the military academy, he ran all the way home, eyes filled with tears. Amawu stood in the doorway, arms open. "I told you I'd be here." And years later, when Kofi returned to the village in a crisp uniform, decorated with medals, his first salute was not to a general, but to his father. The old man saluted back, pride shining brighter than the sun. Don't forget to subscribe.